any society is how it treats its women and girls. The measure of any society is how it treats its women and girls.
My name is Liz. I'm one of your hosts. Sorry about that. I slid the slider up, but I didn't push the button underneath it. Welcome, Buttercups. It's another episode of Surly Voices here on WMNF Tampa 88.5. I'm Liz. I'm one of your hosts. My co-hosts, Donna and Maria, are joining me by Zoom. Look at you, Donna. Oh, my gosh. Oh my gosh, all that wood bathing is working. Golly, you look awesome.
I'm going to step off the camera for a second.
Okay. Maria, how are you doing?
Good morning. I'm getting caffeinated.
Very good. Yes. Always a top priority. So what's on the top of your mind today, Maria?
Oh, wow. I guess we can't let an hour go by without what's going on in Congress, Epstein files, congressional indictments.
Here's my take on it, because if you recall, Trump did a 180 on that. They've been scrubbing those files somewhere, and whatever gets released is not going to be worth having. What do you think?
Well, I'm sure that, I heard also that the ghostwriter for Virginia Giuffre's book says that they have a list. That other people, I'm sure Mark Epstein has the list.
Yeah, he has come up to
I'm sure that there are way more documents out there than people realize.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. It's not just what's been. I mean, there's probably a safe somewhere underground with 10 million keys to get into it, like Indiana Jones or something, where we can see unredacted things. Donna, what are your thoughts on that?
Clay Higgins, to start, who didn't want the files released, like what's going on with this guy, right? What's his deal? Have questions about Clay Higgins, and I'd like to dig into that just a little bit. I don't have a lot of information on it. I just got back from D.C. last night, where I had the divine pleasure of tearing a hole in Holly's backside yesterday in the halls of Congress. I only wanted to leave one of the door hangers, notice of harm, that we were leaving on the doors of Republican Congress people and some Democrats who voted for the to end the shutdown, right? And imagine our luck when he just walked right out of the office. Oh. And it took a moment because all the guys, the guys around him, they all look just alike. Same
Shocker.
Right, and I couldn't tell. I was like, which one is Josh? It's like 3 card, It's like, which one is Josh?
Which bell is it under? Yeah.
Right. And so we bird dogged him. And there's a video. There is video of this where we get to the elevator, right? And he's about to get in the elevator. And I think he doesn't want to turn his back on us, right?
Right.
And so he's standing in front of the elevator, and he leans in and he tells me, "You don't know what you're talking about." I said, "What I know is 17 million people. You said no to the lives of 17 million." So he basically said, like, you're crazy. And off he went. And then we did get to Angus King's office. Angus King actually his people came out and were, I would say, Republican polite, right? A little snarky, right? But we're not gonna. They were being filmed, so they couldn't really turn up.
Ah.
You know what they did? They actually offered this couple a policy meeting. Like they said, hey, come on back. We've got, we're going to go find someone and they're going to talk to you about your concerns, because they're threading the needle here. These folks in Congress, and I just heard this on NPR, the accusations that people are using their public office for personal gain is not some newfangled notion. This has always been a thing. Elected officials, any type of leader, folks go in, and Patty Lamb, Dick Lamb was the governor of Colorado. Patty Lamb, his wife, who's a very prominent woman in Colorado politics, said to me probably 20 years ago, she said, Donna, you come up here and you want to make a difference. And the next thing you know, you're in the cloakroom making deals. And you're like, who is this person? I believe a great number of people go into this thing. Sheila Sherfless McCormick, for instance, go into politics wanting to make a difference, whatever they believe that to be, including Hawley himself. And the next thing you know, they're being, weighed upon by the high rollers in that space to do as they're told. It happened to AOC. It's happened to Maxwell Frost. And people think that as we elect more millennials and Gen Z into these offices, Josh Hawley is born in 79, so that makes him a baby Gen Xer. And so he's on the cusp of he's a zillennial. And they're doing the exact same things as their forebears. So I don't know if age is going to do it. I think we're going to have to start vetting people by their policy. Last thing. The Jeffries is being primary.
Yep.
Yes.
I love that for him.
Right? Don't know anything about this kid. I don't know if he's ready for prime time. But he looks polished from what I've seen. It was just in passing. If Maria has information, I would love to hear about this guy.
Ooh, tell us about it.
He is a New York City commissioner.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like this is not his first rodeo.
Right.
Okay.
So he knows how to put boots on the ground.
Great.
So I heard that there's also a Democrat being primaried in South Georgia. This is our Danny
Glover.
Danny Glover is primarying an octogenarian.
But I thought that the incumbent was no longer running.
They said that he wasn't going to run, but he hadn't announced it at that time.
Okay, got it.
So if Danny can mount a real offensive, then I think that he would probably hand over the reins. Kind of like what was being asked of Lois Frankel down there. If we can find someone. And I think that instead of this discussion about whether or not 25-year-olds should be running for office, because I think that poses a problem, a different set of issues entirely. Don't you? Like
I think that honestly, I keep going back to the same thing. I mean, let's stop nibbling around the edges and address the big issue in the elephant in the room, and that is money in politics.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, none of this changes. It doesn't matter how you rearrange the deck chairs if you are not going to do away with Citizens United. Right? I fundamentally believe two things need to happen. Get rid of Citizens United and have a full-throated, comprehensive Voting Rights Act. Period. Everything else is secondary. Once every person gets to vote, and we're not playing games anymore, and that we have universal Voting Rights Act, where everybody needs to be pre-cleared, not just southern states, because it's the same BS that was happening in Wisconsin a couple of years ago. everybody is subject to a new 21st century Voting Rights Act, then we can have a conversation.
So then that begs the next question, which is all the damage that is currently deliberately being done to processes and systems. Not that they were perfect, but they were kind of lumbering along, and everyone kind of knew where their places were and what was possible in the confines of our nation's government. All of that's been turned upside down, like someone looking for some gum in their purse. And here we have all of the parts of the American government. We were asking questions about same-sex marriage. Foregone conclusion is, if you're not gay and someone gay is not trying to marry you, what do you care? Right?
Yeah.
Like, we moved past that. It's been in place for years. We went back and we circled back for Roe versus Wade, upset that apple cart. We have a generation of young women who have never known the world. 2 generations of young women who've never known the world. Mine being 1, 3 now, Gen X, Gen Z, and millennials, never known a world where they didn't have full reproductive choice, full spectrum, messing with that, firing people, U.S. aid, over and over again. You know how long it's going to take us to fix this stuff?
Oh, years and years. I mean, the more it goes on, the harder it's going to be to fix.
Right. So talking about a Voting Rights Act, it sounds like that is way in the back of a stadium classroom. Right? It's like, first we got to just figure out what powers should a president have? Where's the delineation between a king and a chief executive of that branch? What constitutes an activist judge? And I mean, we had a lot to say about that a few years ago, but that's the only thing that's saving us right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
the bench. It's just judges on the bench who are willing to see it go down like this. Speaking of judges on the bench, I had a signed copy of The Lovely Ones by Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Oh, did you get to meet her and see her?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I was underwater in working on an election, so I did not go to the lecture in North Carolina, but they did send me my book.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
So a little piece of history there. So I don't know what we're going to do about where we are and how we get out of that. I don't know that the answer to what ails us, I think it's going to help having people who have a vested interest in what happens 30, 40 years from now, because they're 30 years old, because they're 40 years old, and they're going to live to be 70 or 80 at least. With technology, if they would actually allow people access to healthcare, people live to be 100 on the average now if you're 40 years old. So it's a good idea to have younger people who are protecting the interests of their children that they haven't even had yet, some of them. But then the question is, there's a policy question, and there's a growing movement of conservative youth, and that seems to have jumped the fence from just neoconservatives in the Republican camp into the Democrat camp. I've recently worked with young people under the age of 30, okay? Under the age of 30 who were Dinos, working happily and considering themselves to be normal, moderate Democrats, and they're almost Republicans. They're making fun of gender pronouns. These are Democrats, right?
Well, we've been saying that today's Democrats are yesterday's Republicans.
But they are making their way into the center of the Democratic Party, right? They're occupying a place they didn't before.
You mean just because they're younger, or because of their ideology?
So if their ideology. So if you are 27 years old, 29 years old, you've been working in politics since you were 21, and you're making fun of people because they have colored hair, or that people that use gender pronouns that work for advocacy orgs. That was something that you probably couldn't have done in 2016, even as a moderate.
Oh yeah, the bro culture, that really aggressive bro culture stuff that that a lot of us find intolerable and mocking, they think is cool now. But, Republicans running as Democrats is as old as time immemorial. Certainly here in Palm Beach County. For a long time, you've had Republicans running as Democrats because they knew that they could not get elected as a Republican in this county. Now it's switching. Now people are registering as Republicans knowing that they can't get elected as Democrats.
Right. There it is.
It's bananas, right? It's absolutely bananas because they're going after where the infrastructure is, right? And then rather than doing the work, they're just going to take the path of least resistance.
So eventually, the duopoly.
That's why you got young people who are really cynical talking about how the party doesn't matter.
But then there is the Democratic Socialist movement, right? There are young people in politics, and then there are the Democratic Socialists, and these people are finding success. They're finding success. The Omar Fatah came very close to beating. Now this is the third term of Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. They do not have term limits for their mayor. They went for a strong mayor model in the last election, haven't been successful with that. And so really working to have a city council that reflects the mayor's goals for the city so that they're not kind of like caught in this schism where they're like locked into this, even divide and have a terrible power struggle and they don't get anything done. So I understand that and I support that. But I would have said, had the election been held in October 13th, Omar would have won. And this is a East African young man who is a state senator, and he was kind of checkered, right? And it wasn't a veneer that Republicans and moderate Dems put over him. He definitely had been involved in more than one thing that suggested less than the standard issue of standard absence of integrity for a politician. Right? See how I did that? Because I don't think that he was necessarily that much worse than the average guy. I think that because he went for a position of power that people felt was above his weight class, they were willing to drag all that stuff out, right? Because if you look at most politicians closely enough, you're going to find some skullduggery in there.
Sure, yeah.
It brings me to Sheila Sherfless McCormick, and I would love it if Dr. Cole would give us an update on that morass.
I mean, honestly, I don't really have an update. From what I understand, if you listen to what she's saying, it is a settled case, and that she corrected whatever it is that were the deficiencies. You still have Elijah Manley out there suggesting that to the contrary, and believes that this is a very legitimate case of misappropriation of funds, etc. I found it interesting, though, that these FEMA funds, the person who wrote the check for was Jared Moskowitz when he was at FEMA at the state. And so it'd be interesting to see how this all plays out. There is another person who is also running for that seat now, and that is Dale Holness.
Huh. I knew that was going to happen.
And, Dale Holness is not above reproach. And, it's probably a good time for the disclaimer. However,
Liz.
The opinions expressed on Surly Voices are those of Surly Voices and not those of WMNF.
So a couple of Dale Holness's children associated with him in the past have been under investigation and indictment as well. One has been convicted. Um, and if we're going to break clean of like, campaign finance reform and stuff like that, or violations, we should be probably looking in a different direction. I will just leave it at that.
And we never look in that direction, which is why we can't. Which is why we're getting the highly redacted Epstein files.
Right. It's going to be the most redacted thing you've ever seen, and it's not going to satisfy most of the people who look at it, because it's like, wait, we know you're in there.
Okay, so this is what I got, right? Like, we got this message from one of our colleagues in DC yesterday. And it's an article from NBC News. And it says that she was indicted on Wednesday. Well, that's the update. She was indicted on Wednesday on charges she stole and laundered $5 million in federal relief funds and used the money for her congressional campaign. Yeah, that's kind of like stolen valor and stolen valor.
It's like stolen money, period.
Like, you got elected in a special election. You win this place. And because of this position, you get $5 million, and you take the $5 million and you use it to legitimize your special election win into an actual full term. And now you've been indicted for the use of that money while you're a sitting official. Let me go on. In a news release citing the indictment, the Justice Department said that Shurflis McCormick, 46, why did they put the age in there? And Edwin Shurflis, 51, her brother, worked on a staffing contract funded by FEMA for COVID vaccinations tied to their family healthcare company in 2021. And that the company was overpaid by $5 million in relief funds. Now, I'm going to stop right there and insert this. I am told that her salary went from $80-something thousand to $6 million annual income year over year. But we'll come back to that. That's not in this article, so I don't want to attribute that to.
NBC.
She and her brother are accused of conspiring to steal the overpayment and route it through various accounts to conceal its origins. Shurflis McCormick is alleged to have used the money for her own enrichment and to fund a significant part of her congressional campaign. Shurflis McCormick won a special election in 22 to fill the seat of late Democratic Representative, you all know, famed Alcee Hastings. She won 72% of the vote. That is a clear mandate in that year's general election, and was reelected again last year when she ran uncontested.
Unopposed.
Wow. Wow.
Now,
So like, let's take a trip down memory lane on this a bit.
Let me finish this, and then you got it. The Justice Department said Shurflis McCormick and another defendant, Nadej, there's your friend, LeBlanc, 46, also used straw donors to secure additional campaign contributions, funneling other disaster relief money from the FEMA-funded contract to friends and relatives, who then made donations to the campaign as if they were contributing their own money. That's not hard to track that, right? Shurflis McCormick and a man who was alleged to have prepared her 2021 taxes are also charged. Dang, this circle is getting larger. Filing a false federal tax return that year, according to the Justice Department. So this is no longer just the House Oversight Committee.
The House Ethics, yeah.
Slapping her on the wrist. She's been indicted for a crime of stealing millions of dollars.
Dang. Let's get back to Hakeem Jeff. Oh, wait. Maria had some tea to spill.
Well, no. Memory lane is this. She has picked up a lot of enemies for a while because she first ran a primary challenging Alcee Hastings, right? When he was still alive. His last.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. She was a primary challenger to Alcee Hastings, and she actually came close, right? So she was on this for a while. And then and because Alcee Hastings, the beloved, very beloved in the community, however, he was the darling of AIPAC and all of those Congress people who too were the darling of AIPAC. She primary challenged him his last term. And then in the special election, she was one of 11 candidates.
11.
She's one of 11 candidates. Omari Hardy, who went viral because he was a sitting city commissioner for Lake Worth Beach at the time. He went viral and also challenged in that seat. He spent like a hot minute as a House rep, state House rep. But there were 11 people in that race. So when you are one of many, too, that also was a significant factor in because everybody was cannibalizing each other. So it was just very, very interesting that like I said, she won. I can't comment because I don't know anything about like the particulars around the money. I do suspect that there are probably some other people involved.
Sure.
Because there are only a handful of people that do reporting, campaign reporting, and documenting that stuff. But she collected a lot of enemies along the way. So there's that. But let's talk about Hakeem Jeffries.
Yeah.
And John Fetterman. Let's not forget.
Pennsatucky Shrek. Yes.
I wish we could show on the screen a picture of him. And I really wish that we could get our viewers to be on with us during the week. Because I would love to show that video of me wearing a MAGA-looking hat that says "Make Racists Afraid Again." And bird dogging Josh Hawley in the building. And I would love to show this picture that my sister said looks like Chucky. Someone yesterday in the Senate cafeteria my sister held up this screenshot of him, and somebody said, "Ooh, that's so good." Do it harder. And I want to say, Shirley, WMNF does not condone violence, political violence. However, this was something that was an accident, right? That happened to him?
Well, with Pennsatucky Shrek, yeah, he apparently has an arrhythmia of some sort and faints and falls, does a face plant. So,
he's a long way. He's tall.
Yeah, he's tall and substantial in size. So
he does too much, right? Like he does too much in general. But what else has this guy got going on besides Facebook?
Maybe he should just go sit down somewhere.
Yeah, maybe he should.
You don't have to worry about falling down. If you're lying down, you don't have to worry about falling.
Yeah, he has been a thorn in the Democrats' side forever now because he votes with the Republicans pretty much. He might as well just go caucus.
He just simply replaced Joe Manchin.
Yeah,
that's all he did.
Right. Manchin and Sinema left a void when they left, so he stepped right on into it.
Well, he can go and he and Susan Collins can go to the same place.
Oh my gosh, yes. But Hakeem Jeffries, a lot of the sitting Congress people are like, oh no, it would be a big mistake to replace Hakeem Jeffries.
I saw that in the comments. If you read any article about him, people are going so hard for him, writing. So it's Gen X and older. They are writing so hard for him. Well, they did this with Pelosi, right? When people are talking about Pelosi changing hands. But let me tell you something. Hakeem Jeffries ain't no Nancy Pelosi.
Right. He's
at all. Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
They shouldn't even be in the same sentence. They shouldn't even compare them because you can say what you want to say about Pelosi. You can say what you want to say about her politics. I think Maria said this last week, and I'm going to reiterate it. I've said this many times over the years on this show. That's a bad woman right there. That's bad.
Yep.
So if she would just have slid to the left a little bit, I would be fighting for her to hold her position right now today, because there was no one. I've never seen. The last time I saw someone do what Pelosi did was Tip O'Neill.
Yep.
comes closer.
She will go down in history as the greatest speaker of the Congress ever in the history of the Congress, because that is one bad, you know what.
Yeah.
And the guy who like stood next to Mitch McConnell and let him fall.
Yes.
I would be standing next to Nancy Pelosi, making sure that she did not like be her bubble wrap. Okay, because
her going down.
Right, I would be her bubble wrap because she is one bad woman. Let me tell you.
People like Jiminy who may be listening that are too young to remember Tip O'Neill. I myself was in middle school, like when he rose to his prominence. Maybe younger, right? My sister might have been in middle school, but the Tip O'Neill was such an awesome speaker that he was deified in hip hop. Like his greatness, it transcended cultural boundaries.
I did not know that Tip O'Neill had been immortalized in hip hop.
They're like, Tip O'Neill. How are we doing today? Yeah, and I was like, oh, he made it all the way to the brothers are now lifting him up. He was that powerful. And I think he was witty, he was brilliant, and he was everybody's pal.
Yeah, he looked like somebody you could sit down and have a beer with.
He was definitely Peepaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hakeem Jeffries does not rise to the occasion. I think that he probably, in his mind, thinks that he has. And we're most dangerous in our own self.
Sure. That seems to be a recurring theme with politicians is they think that they're a lot more better or likable than they actually are. You're listening to Surly Voices on WMNF Tampa 88.5. If you want to join the conversation, give us a call at 813-239-9663, or you can email to dj@wmnf.org. DeMarco sent us an email. It's a link to something published about Epstein's brother. I haven't really seen any of the Epstein family step into this fray, but here this guy comes, Mark Epstein, and apparently Mark knows a little bit about what's going on. And Mark is accusing FBI Director Kash Patel of covering up the real cause of Epstein's death. Yeah. If you believe that Epstein hung himself, I have a bridge to sell you.
Is it in Brooklyn or San Francisco? That's all I want.
It's in Bodak.
That one in China that fell into the earth.
Let's see. Jiminy is on the phone. Hi, Jiminy.
Hey, ladies. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday to you.
Thank you. In the last, little bit of the show here, I was wondering if you would bring the conversation a bit more local and talk about, the recent, these past 2 Fridays have been really violent and sad in Ybor. And there's a lot of conversation on Facebook. And I was wondering if y'all could address that. Basically, I personally do think TPD and the Florida Highway Patrol are being really sketchy and not really acting with the safety and well-being of the public in mind. But I know, especially with what happened just this recent Friday with DJ Shy Guy, that a lot of information is yet to come out. And there's speculation online of whether it's a purposeful or whether it's just the process. But I think some people are using it to uplift their platforms, and it's kind of crazy on there. I wondered what y'all were thinking about it.
All right. Thanks so much for calling, Jiminy.
No problem. Thank you.
For you, Jiminy. 34-year-old Dedrick Sykes was murdered in a road rage is being called a road rage incident. Okay, being called road rage. So for people who aren't uninitiated, I'm going to walk you through this. 34-year-old, 32. Don't at me. I don't have the number right now. He's 41. 41-year-old Tampa DJ was in his car driving in Ybor City. Something happened, but from what I understand, the cars were going in opposite directions. There was something that happened. Ben got out of his car, went over. There was someone in the car with Dedrick. They're talking to people in the community who say that it was a murder and that it was not a road rage incident. The family is demanding transparency from the city and the Tampa Police Department, who was found lying about the chase of a driver into Ybor City, which resulted in the injury of 12 people and the death of 4. So they just lied about it. They lied about it. The highway patrol stopped following the guy once he left the highway. The Ybor City police picked him up on Nebraska, and they pursued him into the crowded area of Ybor City, where there are nightclubs and restaurants and tattooing parlors and all of the like, and lots of people on foot, when resulted in a crashing of this car into Bradley's, which is right at the corner, the end of Ybor City, where most of the crowds are, and a lot of people accumulate around Bradley's because it has a drag show at midnight every night. So the question was, this is being called a stand your ground case, and the person who shot Dedrick was not arrested, and they are not giving his name to protect him because by law, he hasn't been charged with a crime, and thereby, as one of the local professors of law said, is entitled to a certain amount of privacy. So, as a consequence of not having been charged with a crime. So, the TPD is tight-lipped, of course, right? These people are famous for discriminatory practices, including ticketing people on bicycles twice a day, right? That was a big thing with the DOJ in the mid-teens. Where Jane Castor was the police chief at the time, now mayor. Jane Castor was the police chief at the time, and they said yes to the DOJ investigation, which meant that the DOJ went lenient on them. They found that the practices were discriminatory, but because the city cooperated, it kind of just went away.
Biking while black. Google that, and you'll find everything you need to know.
That was like a headline in the Tampa. It went all the way. It was a national story.
Yeah.
So anyway, we don't trust the TPD, and I personally have done a lot of work in the city of Tampa, and some nationally, on police brutality and state-sponsored violence against Black lives, particularly, but not exclusively limited to Black lives. Because the police gonna police. Okay?
Yes.
So now the question is, at both of these issues are the activities of the police before and after the events, right? Mm-hmm. That change the outcomes in the Ybor City crash, and it's changing the investigation as far as the public knows. They need to say something to the public, or this is going to get out of pocket. Because I haven't been out of pocket in a long time, and I'm ready to get out of pocket. Right? Like I'm ready. I got a few more in me, and I'm ready to throw down. So it seems like Elvis Piggott, who is a local activist type, held a press conference, and I was glad because I was in D.C. when I saw this, and he is with the family. I guess they're working with him. Are people that are adjacent to the family, and they're demanding answers. So what I think is going to happen is it's going to go national, and Ben Crump's going to come to town. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. He's going to get a little nasty. So because the TPD thinks that they're operating in Trump's America, and they are, but we local. We can get nasty right down here in the swamp.
Right.
So, I don't want to. I'm old. I don't want to. But if they ain't got it, I'm going in, Liz. I'm just going to give you notice right now. We're going in. because this is one of those ones like George Floyd. It was happening and happening and happening, and then all of a sudden that one happened, and people said, "Nope, we're not doing this."
Yes.
And I feel like they've been doing little stuff all this time. They've never stopped killing people, right? The sheriff and the TPD have never stopped. The interest went to survival because we reelected Trump. We reelected Trump, but they can still get some. So, Jiminy, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to fall back and let the people who are doing the thing, if they can get answers, then we don't need to reinforce. But I might have to call Carlos Soto to come up from Polk County, and we might have to do some stuff. So stand by for that. I'm not going to be hyperbolic on my page. When it's time to throw down, you will be one of the first to know.
And yeah, well, let's talk about high-speed chases that for nonviolent crimes
in heavily populated spaces.
Yeah, because it's like they had the helicopter on the guy. We're talking about the first incident where the guy injured a bunch of people and killed 4. He was the only reason they were chasing him, to my understanding, is because he was speeding.
Yeah, he was driving erratically.
Yeah,
was a person of interest. Let's go.
Right, and so the cops, the Florida Highway Patrol, institute a high-speed chase. Let him go. What he's speeding. You got his plate number, and you got the helicopter circling. You can see wherever he goes. But no, he chased him off the interstate. He disengages at some point, and then that's when the local cops take over and chase him into the crowded area and ends up with a bunch of people. Now, I'm not saying the guy was right for running away from the police, because I've had this argument online a lot of times. I'm not taking up for him for running away from the police, but I'm also not going to condone high-speed chases for nonviolent crimes. I mean, it's been proven to not be effective and actually dangerous. And then trying to do a pit maneuver on the interstate is like, what? And yeah, didn't do it because they were going too fast to do a pit maneuver, which
these guys have only done pit maneuvers in the academy. That was the last time they did a pit maneuver.
Yeah. I mean, it just, sure, it looks cool, but it ain't that easy to do if you don't do them all the time. So
they all think that they're in a video game.
I think that's true, Maria. I think they're not looking to serve and protect. They're looking to take people down and get arrests and do pit maneuvers. And yeah.
I would like to hear more from Jiminy about who's using this to boost their following.
Oh, yeah. That's a good question.
T there.
Yeah. We'll have to get her to...
She's gone?
Yeah, she's gone. She's been gone. If you want to give us a call, now is the time, because we're running short. 813-239-9663. Or you can email to dj@wmnf.org. So, hopefully we'll be able to find out more about the latest shooting in Ybor. But some people have said that in the past, the busy streets in Ybor have been blocked off to traffic on weekends. Do you remember that, Donna?
Okay, yes, I do. Because we used to shut Ybor down like it was a store at night.
This is my playhouse, yes.
Told me they were sick of me. They're sick of me. They had the helicopters out. We just had Ybor City lit. It was, at that time, we were doing protests against the clergy and evangelists that would come to Ybor, and God hates,
yoga pants.
Everything. And we would go down there to create a wall of love. That's what we called it, around them. Also, we had a lot of BLM marches through Ybor. And it's always so crowded on the weekends. It's just so crazy that I honestly believe had he not been chased, that probably wouldn't have happened, because it looked like when you see the diagrams, he was coming up Ybor from Nebraska, where they try to do the pit maneuver. And he tried to hook that turn right before Bradley's. Like, he didn't want to go into Ybor, because once you go into Ybor, you're trapped, right? And so he tried to make that turn at the street right at the edge of Bradley's and like the Copper Brewery that's right there. When he went to make that turn, he didn't make it. He was going too fast and he went into Bradley's. So think he's coming, he's on the right side of the road, tries to make a turn at that intersection, and he doesn't make it, and he goes straight into Bradley's. So he did that as a consequence. It wasn't like he drove straight into the crowd. He tried to make a turn and he didn't quite make it. So that happened directly as a consequence of him being chased into that area.
Yeah. But you're not.
So let's talk about retractable barriers.
Okay.
So you can close the street on the weekends. I think would make the street much more attractive in this day and time to have the retractable barriers. I think they do have some downtown. They go into the ground and they look like they're little caps that go over them, metal caps.
Oh, okay.
And they can come up out of the ground. And when those things come up, you don't have to move concrete barriers in and out of the space. I mean, although that would be helpful for special events, like really big, like a street,
right,
like a ride or something, to close off the side street so that nobody can come into that area without. But they could put those retractable barriers on the streets so that, and you go anywhere in New York City, they don't care. If you go to New York City for New Year's Eve, they bring the concrete out. And you cannot drive on any of those side streets that lead directly into where the crowd assembles in Times Square. You just can't do it. And so we're behind in so many ways in this city. I could talk to y'all because I do a lot of work in this area. I don't talk about everything I do, but I can talk to you about the relief funding and how dilapidated the flood relief grid was, the pumps that didn't work in Temple Terrace that causes houses that were not in the floodplain to flood, the poor training of the Tampa Police Department and how they keep telling us that they're going to train these cops and make them better and make them more empathetic. And none of this stuff is happening. We run this city, it's supposed to be a blue city. It's run like a Republican city in Alabama.
Well, because the mayor is a Dino.
And we're not going to talk about Black leaders in this town who regularly meet with these people and have their numbers in their cell phones and have been impotent to do anything about any of the things that I've named, except cry about when they don't get enough money for this or that for East Tampa. And let me say this as well. Recently, the CRA gave $5.5 million, and I want you to do the math on this in your head, to build 75 units in East Tampa. And people were so happy about that. At 73,000, if you can do math, then you're ticked off about it, right?
Right.
Cannot build a unit in this economy for $73,000, even if the city donates the land. The minimum that you could spend on permits, plumbing, all of that, it's $140K for a decent unit. So again, they're saying here's $5 million for a piece to build junk that's going to fall down in 5 years. It's going to be Belmont Heights, right? Chinese drywall. So Jiminy, there are a lot of things to be said about stuff that's happening in Tampa. If you'd like, you're back in Tampa now. You can be a guest host where we'll do a show where we only talk about things that are happening in Tampa, starting with disaster relief to funds for affordable housing to the misappropriation and poorly trained police officers at the sheriff and the city level. We can do it.
All right.
I got time.
Let's talk to Eduardo in Tampa. Hi, Eduardo.
Hey, good morning. I like the conversation you're having right now because I'm a little bit concerned, and I got a couple friends that are, because I'm originally from Chicago, and they went to Naples, and I feel like we're kind of like falling behind here. Some of the problems you indicated behind, and then we were in the news about foreclosure, And so are we going to need somebody like Bob Buckhorn
No.
to save Tampa?
No.
What's your thoughts
No,
on that?
no.
Okay, I'm just checking. I don't know.
Yeah, were you here the last time he was mayor?
No, I just got here 2 years ago. Yeah.
Ah, okay, yeah. No.
Yeah, that's why he said that.
Yeah. He's all about developers and taking money from developers and building things in every green spot in the whole city. So no. Not a fan.
He's one of those dinos.
He's the
Yeah.
boss hog.
Boss
Right.
hog, is that what you
Boss
said?
hog. Yeah, boss hog.
Boss.
From the Dukes of Hazzard?
a
Yeah,
little more polished.
that's why I'm here. So here's my thing. If I could travel, and this would be my main thing, is trade schools for young people, because in my opinion, we're in trouble with this AI. It's like Pac-Man.
Yeah, I don't really use it that much because the only thing I do with AI is make memes. Otherwise,
Yeah, I don't
it
do
doesn't hear from me because I don't trust it.
You are absolutely right, though.
Any
Does
few
anybody
minutes,
know anything about the crisis in
few
AI right
times,
now?
some of the things coming up down the pike, the Tampa Bay Rays, development over there by downtown. We're about to escape the hurricane season. What are your thoughts as far as what 2026 should be for Tampa? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Tampa's like the Tower of Babel, right? So affordability has to be front and center. It's now a national story. Florida's the
Okay.
worst in the nation. Tampa's the worst in the state. So there's your story right there. You can extract as much meaning as you need to from those 2 day points.
Because all the things that the developers are developing, I mean, we still have priced ourselves out of having any kind of decent population.
And I'll tell you this, we did this before, we did this drill already. So the last time we had a recession, okay, so think 2011 Zuccotti Park through maybe 2016. So the last time there was a recession, when I got here, Tampa was still recovering from the recession that started back in the American Spring, that started in New York City with Occupy. And I was talking to an economist, actually lived in a house with an economist. 5 white men. That's another whole show. But anyway,
That sounds like a movie.
it's like my work, like it's my job too. It's like 5 white men and me, and it's been like that for like a decade. So he told me that it would take until 2021 for us to fully recover. But if you recall, 2020, 19 and 20, we were in COVID. Well, it took Tampa. Tampa is a microcosm of the economy and the demographics of the United States. So if you were to take a snapshot of any state and have that reflect the macro, it would be Tampa, Florida. Now, so anytime something happens in the United States, you're going to see that foreclosure crisis going to be clear, crystalline at the level of this city. So what you're seeing right now, that Tampa being ground zero for the housing crisis and affordability crisis and foreclosure, is going to reflect the entire country in about a year. Maybe we're not that far out. Like I noticed, and I said this to you guys when I was in Minneapolis, I said there were a lot of houses on those lakes that had for sale signs up. And I saw a lot of businesses closing, and it's happening here too. So I would just sit tight, because Bob Buckhorn, the developers aren't going to buy anything in a dying city. We're going to look like Jacksonville by the end of next year. So I would be very careful about thinking that a Dino is going to come and save us, because what they really want to do is turn the city over into the hands of developers and make it a place where the rest of us are servants to the wealthy, the ultra wealthy, and make it a playground for them, because we have year-round winter. So there are a lot of things happening. I can't iron it out for you in 30 seconds, but I can tell you that Tampa is a pure reflection of what's in store for the rest of this country. Tighten your seatbelts and stop spending.
All right. Thanks for calling, Eduardo.
Yeah. I look forward to more conversation about this in the new year. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye-bye. Frank just gave us the finger, so it's time to go. Any last thoughts, ladies?
It's about to get windy in here.
Yep. It's about ready to get real, as Donna said. Tighten up.
Tighten up. Yeah, buckle up, buttercups, and join us next Thursday because we will be here. We will do our annual Colonizer Day show.
I thought you meant we will be here next year. I said, we'll be naked and cold, but we might be alive.
And thank you for listening to Surly Voices on WMNF Tampa 88.5.